Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. I believe we are live. Yep, we are live. Get the social aspect put up here. Make sure that I am on the right one. I am. Let's make sure that Facebook is doing it right. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so got that going. Let's just start saying hi to you. James is on YouTube. He says hi. So hello to you. Hello. He says hello to everybody there. Zara Mallory on Facebook saying hello to everybody. So they're going to keep coming in right now. Shirley Bikeman, good morning to you. I'm so glad that you are with us this morning. Hey, it is, it's a Tuesday before the election, which I'm going to talk just a little bit about this morning, but nothing crazy. So don't tune us out. It's not normal election talk, but it's kind of gloomy outside today, looking out my window. But hey, listen, we are here together this morning, and we are going to have fun. We're going to look at Scripture, and I'm just excited that we have these times to talk through things and spend time together and say hi. So Jeffrey Combs saying hello. Judy Marsh saying hello also. So excited to have you guys. Hey, let me ask you what's going on this week with you guys. What's happening this week? Is there anything fun? So I say it this way, like my son turned 2 today. So we're going to celebrate his birthday here in a little bit later today. Woke him up and he had a balloon and a couple cars or something like that. But so we're going to celebrate him today. It's his birthday. And then this weekend we're going to do some things with the kids, with their costumes, go to some places, get some candy, stuff like that. I think we go to the zoo, and we're going to do that. So I don't know. What are your plans this weekend or this week? What do you have scheduled? I'd just like to know. I'd just like to find out and see what's going on with you guys. While we are, I'll wait for you guys to answer those, and I'll respond to those here in a little bit. But, everything you turn on right now, if you turn on TV or news or internet, something, it's about politics. And I feel like we should and get away from it. He is closing on his house Friday. So congratulations all around to him and to the family there. So in John chapter 1, when we look at this kind of idea of what John is saying about Jesus, and he's going to say about our world and our life, there's a beauty to take from this, and actually a huge encouragement, I think, to take in from this. So in John chapter 1, I'm going to start I'm not going to start there. I'm going to recap it. From 1 to 12, 1 to 11, he is talking about Jesus. He uses in the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And he talks about him. There was a man sent from God. His name was John, bore witness. This true light came, and all of this other things. And then the true light came, which is Jesus, and talking about that. And in verse 11, he makes a comment that his own people did not receive him. And this is what I want us to focus on is verse 12. So John 1, verse 12. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. He gave them the right to become children of God. When you believed in him, you became children of God. The entire Old Testament is there so that we can see God's amazing glory. I mean, honestly, the New Testament is too, so I don't want to separate the two of them, but it is there to show us the glory and the magnificence of God. Like Genesis 1 and the book of Genesis was not necessarily written as um, the understanding of how human civilization came to be, right? We don't have the laid out forms or laid out description of how we went from Adam and Eve to Noah, and how bad we got and how we got that bad and everything else. We don't know how we came from Noah to the Tower of Babel. One, how the technology and the things, right? So all kinds of crazy, things that we are missing out of the history of mankind, because that's not what the Bible is. The Bible is not the history of mankind. Yes, it shows us some things. Excuse me. It shows us some things, but that's not the focus of it. That's not the intent of the Old Testament. It's not to lay out how great humans are and all of the steps that humans took. It is to lay out that from the beginning, God created Adam as in the image of God, to become sons of God. And then he created Eve. And from them, from the very beginning, the first encounter with our, arch enemy, Satan there, they failed and they made mistakes and they just constantly made errors. And we see that when we read through and we go through all of the history that we do have of mankind. What we see is that mankind constantly fails, is that mankind put together, any type of community that mankind builds fails. It is just not good. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to work because men are evil. And even when we have to look at it, even when good Christian people get together, they have flaws and they have mistakes and they have issues. And those things get magnified when they create brotherhoods. I'm not trying to down any country, race, religion, or anything, but you can look at every culture, every civilization, every country that was ever made, and you can find holes, you can find errors, you can find mistakes, you can find issues. That is the reason, and the reason for that is the fact that it was created by men. It will always be that way. And so we see that time and time again in the Old Testament. We see Adam and Eve created perfect and perfect bliss in the Garden of Eden, still making mistakes when they created their own little community. Then we see that getting even worse, much worse. I venture to say much worse than what even our world is today, because it was bad when we hear of Noah, and it got bad really fast. Right? When we do history and things like that, it got really bad really fast, and God made a decision like, man, I wish I wouldn't even made this earth. And we could discuss that, what the theology is there, but it was bad. And so that was people getting together, and then he saved Noah, right? Noah was a righteous man. But from Noah, it didn't take that long to get to the Tower of Babel. And then from the Tower of Babel, it didn't take that long to get to all of our other countries that we ever find, right? So from that Tower of Babel come all of the other countries everywhere. So the Indians came from there. The Russians came from there. Every group of people, the Mongolians, the Greeks, the English, the Dutch, the Norwegian, every group that could have had bad areas, or bad regimes, which everyone has, they came from that Tower of Babel. They came from that space that was there because everyone was dead when it stopped. When Noah got out of the ark, everybody was there. And so they all went off and they all created their own little countries, and all bad, all never working properly. And we see that when we read through the Old Testament, that God's like, there's no countries that are good. That's why I'm picking out Israel. And they weren't good. Like, it wasn't that Abraham was a fantastic, Abraham was a righteous man. I'm not making fun of Abraham, but created, like he used Abraham. And then from there, when we read the history of Israel, they were not perfect people. They constantly made mistakes. They were literally out of Egypt for a very short amount of time. Moses is up in the mountain talking to God personally, and they're making idols and worshiping a golden calf that saved them out of Egypt. Israel was just as wrong as every other country because they were humans. And that's what we see. But what we see, the beauty, the encouragement, the amazingness of this, is that we see that Jesus came and gave us power to become sons of God again. Even through all of the mistakes, through everything that we read through the Old Testament, where David makes mistakes, Saul makes mistakes, Solomon makes mistakes. Literally, we could go down the line. Every kingdom, every patriarch, every person made mistakes. I mean, I'm not pushing down or degrading any of them. Abraham made a mistake. He added an extra heir. He added something that he was not supposed to do. He went against God's rules. He went against God's thoughts. And then it just, again, it goes on. It could, literally can continue. You've got Israel's 12 sons, right? And there was favorites. And that created issues. And so you have all of these problems, right? And so there's so many things that we could go through. No nation is beyond this. It doesn't take long. Look at any country that's still standing today, and you will find huge holes. I mean, they're all around us. We live in America. We look on politics. I mean, there are errors everywhere from all sides. There's no one perfect because we're all human. We all make mistakes. Some make mistakes this way, some make mistakes that way, but we all make mistakes. But what's so great about this is that when Jesus came, he gave us power to become sons of God. And what's even better is that when we create this culture of God-fearing, God-honoring, God-loving people, we'll still make mistakes, but we're going to follow a God who doesn't. So this is what Israel messed up on. Israel messed up because they had a God who wanted to lead them, and he would have been a perfect God. No faults, no errors, no mistakes. And they chose Saul, and then David, and then Solomon, and then the kingdom just went downhill. I think there's too many of us as Christians now that look to our leaders for guidance. That we look to everything else around us, and I'm not just talking about the U.S. Believe me, no one watches this outside of the U.S., but I'm talking about everyone. Period. We look to leaders into humans to lead us and guide us. It's very careful. I would say is you don't follow me as a pastor. You don't follow RT as a pastor. We're going to try to give the best. We're going to try to give you the best examples that we possibly can. But you don't follow us. You follow God. And if you can follow us while following God, that's great. Like, that's cool. If we're on the same line, fantastic. But the moment we stray from God, you follow God. Don't follow us. And so this is what I think when we see here in John, it says we get power to become sons of God. We get power. Jesus gave us the ability to forgo human anything. There's nothing here that holds us to becoming the people that we need to be. It doesn't matter what politician gets elected for anything. It doesn't change us. It doesn't matter what policies are in place. It doesn't change us. It doesn't change what Christians do because we're not geared by that. There can be, and I'm going to say some things here, there could be a policy about abortion. And guess what? As a Christian, don't have to get an abortion just because there's a policy that says you can. The policy isn't going to save us. Our actions do. Our beliefs do. Our trust and obedience into God, that does. There can be policies about marriages and what that looks like, and genders and all of those types of things. Who cares what the policies say? We as Christians can act in the way that we are supposed to act. We are doing the things that we are supposed to do according to God. Our leader, the one who gives us the rules, he isn't wrong. And he doesn't need elected either, because he's already king. He's already Lord. He created everything that you see. And so we don't have to fear. Yes, if and I'm not trying to tell anyone not to vote. That's not what I'm telling you to do. It's not a rant. I would never give you that. I mean, it's your civic duty. You live in the country. You're supposed to vote. And you should. You should care. And who you want. And you want the right people in place. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem that I see, and I'm seeing it more and more every year, every time I go into a new election, and I know I am only 35 years old, haven't seen that many or haven't been paying attention to that many, and I get that. But I paid attention to enough to know that every time we get this, it's worse and worse and worse, where I see Christians and people begging and pleading for a certain person because they think their policies are going to save them. They won't. Nothing the president does is going to save you. I don't care what president it is. No politician, no senator, no representative, no nothing. The best they could do is make your very, very short, minimal life here on earth a little different. That's the worst they could do. We live, 80 years if we're lucky? So the worst thing that whatever president is next could do is make my next 45 a little challenging. But then I have eternity. So I don't care. I don't care if it becomes illegal to be a Christian. I don't care if they create all kinds of laws and say that people can kill babies and do stuff. It's not that I don't care about the babies. I want you to understand what I'm saying. That doesn't change me, and it doesn't change what I'm going to do. I'm going to constantly be telling people, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't care what the policy is. I have the ability and freedom to walk in the middle of a street and walk in front of a car. But I'm not going to do it. And I would tell other people not to do it. I'm going to teach my kids not to do it. So I don't really care what the policy says. The policy says that at 21 years old, my kids can go out and get drunk and hammered and just forget everything that's going on and just completely lose track of themselves. They're fine to do that as long as they do it in a safe environment. That's what our policies say. But I'm going to teach them that's not the right thing to do. That's not biblical. And yes, there might come a time, and it might be there, it might come a time where, you know what? Country says it is illegal. You will get punished and thrown in prison if people find out you're a Christian. And I'm going to tell my kids? Hey, who cares about that law? You worship God, and you serve God. Dad, what if we get thrown in prison? Then we get thrown in prison. Who cares? Well, it'll make life really hard. Yeah, life has been hard for a lot of people in a lot of time frames. That's okay. But I'm not raising kids, and I don't want to raise people. I don't want to lead people to be lead them in an election or in a situation where there could be I don't even care who's in office. Whoever's in office could do something. It doesn't matter. Yes, I want to vote, and yes, I want the right people, because yes, obviously I want more comfort. But if it doesn't work that way, or if I have a friend that I love, a brother, a sister in Christ who just came to a different conclusion, I'm not going to let my love of Christ be shaded by the fact that we have politics. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should be finding our hope. We should be finding our trust. We should be finding our identity in God and in the connections that we have with God, the agreements that we have. Man, I see a lot of arguments, minimum wage and things like that. Look, me and you can disagree 100% on business economics and everything else. And I'm not telling you what side I'm on. I don't really know if I have a side, but if I had one, I could pick one and I could tell you, and I could sit there across from my brother and him say, listen, I just don't understand. And I go, I know, and I get that. And I don't understand your view. But hey, you know what? I don't care if the person gets paid 7.25. I don't care if the person gets paid 15. I don't care if the person gets paid 22. They need Christ. So why don't we make that our focus? Why don't we go tell that person about Jesus? Who cares about their minimum wage? Who cares about that? Yes, we can discuss it. We can talk about it, but I'm not worried about it. We can vote on it. We can make decisions and policies, and hey, that's the whole process. That can stay out here. But it shouldn't be our lives. It shouldn't be who we are as people. We should be showcasing love. We are the sons of God, for crying out loud. Sons and daughters of God. Why are we worried about this country? And I'm not saying, again, I make it very clear, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be concerned and be involved in doing that kind of stuff. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying we should do that. But we should do that in the context that we are children of God. And we have a hope and just a peace that comes that no matter what happens on November 3rd, I don't care. I'm going to go vote. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to say what I think I should, I'm going to vote the way I think I should vote, the way God has led me to vote. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to ask God, give me wisdom, give me things. He says, right? He doesn't withhold that. I think he'll let me know. I've been trying to pay attention a little bit, finding out what's going on here and there, who I like, doing my civic part, doing what we should be doing. But when I wake up November 4th, my hope doesn't change. I don't care. I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to let God take care of it. God put Trump in office, God put Obama in office, God put Bush in office, and I could continue going down the list. And listen, God is in control. And there's so much hope, there's so much peace, there's so much comfort in that. It doesn't stop us from doing work. It doesn't stop us from being involved. But it should change the way we act when we are involved. I really want to see Christians and kids, everybody. I want to see people growing up, showcasing God to the world regardless of anything else. I don't care your political views. I don't care what race you are. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how smart you are, how pretty. None of that matters. What matters is that we are masterpieces of God. We are created by Him, and we are given the ability to be in His family. What else do you want? The God that made this universe specifically crafted you. He made you. And then He gave you the opportunity to become His child. What can trump that? And play on words, I know, but what could beat that? There's no president. There's no policies. There's no anything that's better than that. And you can have it. You just have to believe on Him. That's what John says here. So hopefully, I know I've ranted a little bit longer than I normally do, but man, this is so important to me. I want to see us loving and caring for one another. Let me pull up the comments here and see what's going on. Okay, so Debbie McLean joined us. Hello, Debbie. How are you doing today? Hopefully you are doing well. Linda Napperstick says hello. I think, did I pop? I think I pushed the button. Oh, there it is. Linda says hello. So glad to have her. Oh, Anna was on, and Timothy said, hi, Dad. So love that little kid. I said he turned 2 today. So he's doing great. Kathy Wood, hello. So Kathy's here with us too. So glad to have that. Linda, I appreciate that you're saying that. Alicia, sorry for mispronouncing that there. But yeah, I'm glad to have you here also. Judy, thank you so much. Don, or Kathy there. Yes. And it is. I want to, I'll kind of put this up here. Kathy, you're correct. Is that it's a self reality check, right? I can't. I can check you maybe if I see something specific, but we just need to check ourselves, and we need to make sure that what we're thinking, what we're believing, what we're showcasing to the world is correct. So, I love you guys a lot. I know I try to share my heart and just try to open up a little bit with you guys every morning. So glad to have everybody here. Jeffrey, I have a cousin that's gonna see and hear this later. That's good. And Jamie, I'll put that up there. Good morning to you. Also, I'm glad you could join us. So, listen, tomorrow at 10, we'll be back on and we'll have another devotion. And I got some questions for you tomorrow. So, I want to find out a little bit more about you guys. So, if you could join us tomorrow at 10, I got some questions I want to ask you and learn and just get some more information from you as I share maybe some of the little information about me. And then, Zara, I will share your last here that is my phrase. I love it. I absolutely love that phrase, and I say it all the time. I think it all the time. I truly believe it, and it's only God. That's all that matters. Nothing else. Nothing else does. Only God. So I'm gonna leave it with that. Bye, guys.